I just wanted to take this opportunity to draw your attention to one issue that is becoming very major with both presidential candidates. Now, you'll remember about a month ago we did an analysis of the current situation concerning the votes and the voting patterns we should expect in August vis-a-vis where the two presidential candidates are concerned. And those who caught that particular recording will remember that we said that one of the major issues is going to be voter turnout. Yeah, in that particular recording I mentioned that both candidates are neck to neck. Many people did not agree with that particular analysis, but that was the situation then. Of course, now there have been a number of changes, but for this particular recording I would just like to focus on voter turnout. The reason is both candidates have been really emphasizing it a lot, and in fact both candidates have taken steps and measures, very aggressive measures, especially Jubilee, to ensure that there's a large voter turnout. Obviously they agree with the analysis we had here, but the truth is that it's rather obvious. Yeah, it's okay to convince people to vote for you. It's okay to turn swing votes in your direction, but at the end of the day, what matters is somebody turning up at the polling station and casting their vote. Now let's start with NASA, what NASA has been doing. NASA has been very aggressive in their meetings, political meetings. If you've been following the news, you'll realize that NASA presidential candidate Raila Odinga and his running mate Kalonzo Musyoka have been emphasizing in virtually every speech they make. They've been emphasizing voter turnout in large numbers, turnout early, to vote. And you realize they're doing this when we still have 2 months of heavy campaigns. We're actually now just getting into the serious campaigns, in the run-up to the elections. Normally this is something you would do towards the end. Once you've talked issues, once you've convinced people to come to fall on your side, this is what you finish your campaigns with. Yeah, but both candidates have chosen to start very early with the issue of turnout, and both have taken very deliberate actions. So as I was saying, Raila Odinga and his running mate have taken very deliberate measures, and one of those deliberate measures is emphasizing people at every opportunity about turnout. Of course, NASA has also been has kept repeating that they already have 10 million bags in the vote. 10 million votes in the bag. That's a nice twist of words. They've been insisting that they already have 10 million votes in the bag. Okay. Now I will analyze that in another session, but for now let's just focus on let's stay focused on what we are discussing here. What has Jubilee done? Now Jubilee is even more interesting. We all know that the Jubilee, the current Jubilee party, is a merger of URP and the former Jubilee into one party. And not only those two parties, there are a number of other smaller parties that were swallowed up by Jubilee. Okay, and we also know that the policy, which has really been emphasized by the president and the deputy, is that they will not have time, and even by other officials, they have said that in the past that they do not have time for smaller parties. They're not supporting any smaller party. The whole policy of Jubilee is for everybody to be under one roof. Okay. Now we also know that recently the president has completely done an about turn, and we have seen him visiting various political parties during the delegates conference. Yeah, for instance, Martha Karua's NAC, the president was there. And a lot of other parties, virtually all these smaller parties which are supporting President Uhuru's re-election, the president has made time to be there. Okay, even Maendeleo Chap, which, as you remember I mentioned here, is going to be a major force because there are a lot of central Kenya MPs and other people vying for other seats, governors and so on, MCAs, women representatives and so on, who are who defected from Jubilee and are now standing on the Maendeleo Chap party, and those particular candidates are supporting the re-election of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, one of the reasons for this about turn is to avoid voter apathy, because you see, there's usually a lot of excitement which is generated by a local party. Okay, now when you have another party which sounds distant, like in this case Jubilee, in an area which maybe the major support is URP. Yeah, it causes voter apathy. Yeah, the enthusiasm is not there. You see, there are small. Human nature is very interesting because there are small things that can change a person's intent. Yeah, for instance, we all know that there's some people who the mood changes. A very small thing, their mood has changed. Yeah, these are the same human beings. When it comes to politics, a small thing can change their intent. A small thing can discourage them. Say, there's no need of going to vote, And definitely, the recent about turn was within Jubilee is in recognition of this fact. As to whether it will work successfully, that remains to be seen. I have no idea. Either way, I have no idea. I cannot say most probably it will work or most probably it will not. It's very unpredictable, and that's the nature of that is the human nature for you. Yeah, you can't predict that. Okay. I think one would need to be blind, not to be completely blind and deaf and dumb, not to realize that voter turnout will be such a major issue in this election. Because, for instance, if we look at the last elections in 2013, the then CORD candidate Raila Odinga suffered a lot because of voter apathy, people not turning up to vote. Remember that? Yeah, in the Nyanza area, there was a lot of discouragement amongst the voters. They didn't bother turn up to vote, yeah? And yet it was so crucial. The reason, well, a lot of people claim, they say that the reason was that there are a lot of candidates who are rigged into ODM positions. People are not popular on the ground, were rigged in to carry the flag for various seats, and this caused anger amongst the voters. And in that anger, their protest was not to turn up and vote. They were no longer enthusiastic. And even if they were not protesting, what I've just said just now, a small thing just changes. Apparently, a lot of people felt there was no need to vote. They woke up that day and they were not really feeling enthusiastic enough to go and line up on those long queues to vote. Yeah, and clearly that cost Raila Odinga that election. Okay, so voter turnout is crucial. Both candidates are emphasizing on it. That is really what I wanted to stress here. And let's observe both presidential candidates going forward to see what other things they'll emphasize. I'm keeping a close eye on that for you, and I'll keep you updated. This is Chris Kumekucha. Thank you.